Hey, it's me, Renee. I'm back, and decided today I kind of wanted to do like general talk, a general video on Vampire Academy. If you're new to the channel or just randomly stumbled across me, I am Renee, and I am a kind of lifelong fan of the Vampire Academy books. And I'm currently doing a read along with Ember from Lazy Reads. We're doing one book a month, but of course, sometimes you might stumble, you might not have finished all the books by each month, and you read how fast you read. But at least I am on the fifth book at the moment. Well, I'm gonna start this Sunday. So yeah, just to get back to it a bit. So yeah, Vampire Academy. It's a series of 6 books, which yeah, kind of big in a way. I mean, quite a lot of series. I feel like the very norm is trilogies, and then you have some books like kind of like the Butcher books, which are the Dresden Files. They're like 12 books, but I feel like 6 books isn't that common. But yeah, this series is 6 books. The first three, Vampire Academy, Frostbite, and Shadow Kiss. And then the last three, Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice. So it's set in a world, it's urban fantasy, so it's set in our world, but it's a world where you have our own society of vampires. And then you have 3 different types of vampires. You have the Moroi, the Dhampir, and the Strigoi. So the Strigoi are kind of like the evil vampires. They're immortal. When they drink blood to kill. They kidnap, they kill. They have no feelings. They're just mean. The Moroi, they have to have blood to survive. But they also also they have like magic, and that's kind of it. And also, yeah, can't. Well, they can't tolerate the sun, but they kind of like not to be in the sun really. And they're often like at the heights of the society in this world. And there's also like a set of royal families. They kind of call them royal. It's not royal per se, but it's kind of royal. Like the people in charge, the people with all the power are called royals. And then you have the Dompiers, which are half human, half vampire, or like half Moroi, half humans. They mostly do the lifeguards to the Morois. They are trained to stop the Strigoi and to be lifeguards to the Morois to serve them in a way. So this series, I would say it's kind of like one of the big plot points is the main character Rose and her best friend Lisa. Lisa is a Moroi. Rose is a Zombie, and often in this society they often don't mix and they often don't become friends. These two races, it's not races. These two classes, yeah, I want to say classes, kind of because it's often classes. But these two people became friends in kindergarten and have stayed friends. And yeah, they just so I would say the friendship between these two is a big part of the series. But then you also have, of course, the love stories. You have Lisa who finds love with a bad boy in a way that society doesn't like, and then you have Rose who falls in love with her uh, sub teacher. I would say, yeah, he's not like a normal teacher. He has her in some classes, and he's younger than other teachers, but he still is a teacher. And but yeah, they fall in love with each other. Uh, and yeah, and also a lot of other stuff happens in these books. This Every book has like a big dramatic I would say every book has like a villain that's kind of villain of the book, and then you have some villains that are kind of villains over several books. I was about to say some books that are books over several villains, but yeah. You also have there's also always some drama happening between the friends and school and whatnot. And then there's also, I would say, also say like the first three books are very much like school based, and the last three books are very much like larger society. They go much more out in a larger society. The fourth book is more or less, well, the fourth book is half not in school and half in school. And yeah, the world kind of gets more and more expanded through each book. And then, like the things that you think you know in book one, sometimes by the end of the book one, no, that's not true. And then you get more information in book two, and then yeah, it expands in every book. And I just love the world building and the world in the series. It's just so good. There's like honestly for me, it's just great dialogue, but also like I would say all the things that yes, it's fun that there's friendship, there's also romance drama, there's also like lots of things happening. But there's also I would say like after a while there's also like this philosophical thinking like okay, who deserves priority on how should you make society work, and how should you yeah, we have these arguments that gets brought up that's not really black and white, or might not be black and white, so it kind of makes you think like in political terms, I would say. And that's quite fun really for because they are YA books, but it just makes you very much think about the world and how it works and how it doesn't work. And yeah, I just love that aspect of it. It's quite fun. And also, I will also say, yeah, I will also say most of the villains in the series, they actually have a point, which I would say, of course, is the best villains. The villains that you kind of think like, I can kind of agree with you. I don't like the way you're doing it, but I see your points. And I mean, you don't really want to agree with a villain, but sometimes you kind of do. Also, at least in this series, you do. And I just, yeah, I'm just, I've talked about the series while I'm doing, because they're really long, I'm also doing sprints where I talk about the books while I read the books, and I read the book, and then I have a little bit, and then I read more. So I've been talking a bit about it during those sprints in non-spoiler terms, which I have continued to do here, really, I would say. Yeah, I haven't really spoiled that much here. But yeah, I kind of also wanted to do our own video. What was I about to say? Yeah. So I read this book series originally when it came out like 10 years ago, and I have reread the first couple of books sometimes, and I have pretty sure I have read the whole series like at least twice. I feel like I've read some of the books twice or four times maybe, but I haven't read any of the books in quite a while now. And I was kind of curious to get back to the books and like think, okay, am I still going to enjoy them? Because sometimes when you reread a book that you haven't read in some years, sometimes it doesn't really hold up. But these books, oh my god, they hold up so much. They are just, yes, they're just the best books, in my opinion at least. They're so good. I just love them. So, yeah, if you're in the mood to pick up some books you haven't heard of before, or maybe have heard of them, but you haven't read them, or maybe you have read them a long time ago and you want to pick them up again, join us, read it. I highly recommend that. And also, yeah, you might have heard of some of the books because the first book was made into a movie, and then there was also a failed TV show that started. Well, sorry, there was just one season, sadly, which is kind of based on the first book, but it's also takes like quite a few changes here and there. So you might have heard of the book from those aspects, but also it was huge back in the days. Back in the days, but yeah, people were like there for these books. But of course, I know a friend mine who talked about like, oh, you reading those books? What are those books? And that's talked about like, oh, I haven't heard of them. I'm like, of course, there's a lot of books out there to know and hear about or hear about all the books in the world. That's difficult, but yeah, Vampire Academy. Vampire Academy. It's just the best book series ever, at least in my opinion. Well, ever. One of them at least. One of them. So yeah, I hope you have a nice weekend. That you were preserved, that you were persuaded to pick up the books. At least you liked watching me talk about. just kind of show my enthusiasm. And yeah, I'll see you also on Sunday for the Spirit Bound, from the Spirit Bound read along. Oh, sorry, for Spirit Bound reading sprints. So yeah, I'll see you around. Bye.